Hi folks, it's me, Michael Bach, your diversity dude, and it's time for another episode of Monday Morning Musings. And quite frankly, I'm going to be cranky for a few minutes. I want to talk about Bill 62, which was passed in Quebec Wednesday of last week. For those of you who don't know anything about this bill, it is a bill that prohibits the either provision or receiving, the giving or receiving of any public service, so any service that is paid for by the taxpayer, to anyone wearing any form of face covering. And while the bill doesn't specifically mention Muslims, the niqab or the burqa specifically, this is obviously completely an assault on Muslim women who wear the burqa or niqab. It goes back to Quebec's Charter of Values that was defeated, put forward by the Parti Québécois, and it did not pass a couple of years ago. But I think it's actually gotten worse, at least with the Quebec Charter of Values. It was about any religious symbol. So it was actually discriminatory towards Hindus and Sikhs and anybody that had any religious symbol. This is just pure on racism against Muslim women. They won't be able to ride the bus. They won't be able to go to school. They won't be able to take out a library book. They won't be able to go to the hospital unless they remove their face covering. It is offensive. It is wrong. It is un-Canadian. I cannot tell you how upset I am to see this legislation go through. I thought that the liberals of all people, would actually have the good sense to say, you know what, this is identity politics, and it is not the right thing. It is not the thing we should do. The minister has said that this is about creating neutrality in the state. But how is it religious neutrality when you're actually telling one religious group, not all religious groups, one religious group, that they aren't able to practice one of the fundamental tenets of their faith by removing a face covering? The premier has made claims that, you know, if you can see my face, I should be able to see yours. These are petty, childish arguments that are completely based in a bias against Muslim people. This will end up in court. It will end up in a court challenge that will go all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada. I will happily be there on that day to fight against this law. I don't like to get into politics because, frankly, I don't have a lot of tolerance for politicians. But I find this completely offensive, and it's so against who we are as Canadians. We embrace difference, and this is exactly the opposite. So I would encourage you all to write to the Premier of Quebec, to write to the Prime Minister, to write to the media, and exclaim your outrage at this piece of legislation. That's it for me. I'm now going to take a Xanax. Please subscribe to my channel. It's up here somewhere. And I will see you next Monday, hopefully for a better tone in my rant for another episode of Monday Morning Musings. Take care.